I'm from Virginia, but I live in Massachusetts now, so I get homesick quite a bit. And food is a big theme with me, so this is my, in a way, it's my ode to Virginia. But, you know, you'll read it and then you'll think about lunch. How to make a crab cake. Start with your own body. The small bones of the hands moving toward the inlets of the fingers. Wanting it too much invites haste. You must love what is raw and hunger for. Think of the crab cake as the ending, as you till away at the meat, digging for errant shells and jagged edges. Always it's a matter of guesswork, but you hold it together by the simplest of ingredients, for this is how the body learns to be generous, to forgive the flaws inherited and enjoy what lies ahead. Yet you never quite know when it happens, the moment when the lumps transcend egg and breadcrumbs, the quiver of oil in a hot pan to become unworldly, the manifold of pleasure with the sweet ache of crab still bright on your tongue. So before I leave Maryland, I'm going to have a Maryland crab cake. Another food poem. In praise of okra. No one believes in you like I do. I sit you down on the table and they overlook you for fried chicken and grits, crab cakes and hush puppies, black-eyed peas and succotash and sweet potatoes and watermelon. Your stringy, slippery texture reminds them of the creature from the movie Aliens. But I tell my friends, if they don't like you, they are cheating themselves. You were brought from Africa as seeds, hidden in the ears and hair of slaves. Nothing was wasted in our kitchens. We took the unused and the throwaways and made feasts. We taught our children how to survive, adapt. So I write this poem in praise of okra and the cooks who understood how to make something out of nothing. Your fibrous skin melts in my mouth, green flecks of flavor, still tough, unbruised, part of the fabric of earth, soul food. So for many years, my father was in the military, and he was a master sergeant. But early on, you know, he was a grunt, and he had to do a lot of things that he wasn't keen on. But he did it because, you know, he did it for country, did it for family. Service. The military needed cheap labor to move office furniture to the newly remodeled Pentagon. So they had the grunts do the work. My father made the 300-mile round trip for 5 weeks to get the job done. Sometimes he gave rides to the other enlisteds and charged a small fee to those who needed a lift. My father, who in 1969 would have done anything for his wife and newborn daughter, put desks together for generals and the elite brass in the oppressive summer heat, in the summer of love, wiping his sweaty face in the mirror of a bathroom once marked coloreds only in segregated Virginia. One day, he said, the higher-ups will realize the world is put together by men like me. So let's see, I think I will, well, I didn't talk about the title. So Underlife was actually not the title of my book. Originally, it was going to be The Kerning, which is a publishing term that refers to the spacing between letters in a word, and the publisher couldn't sell that. So they went with, so we went with the second choice, Underlife, which is a word in a poem, in the last poem of the book. Underlife for me represents the unsaid. It's sort of the things we always think but never talk about. And coincidentally, I went to NYU and did my graduate work there. I did my undergraduate work at Old Dominion University. And Toy Darracott was my first teacher. Troy Derricott was friends with Sharon Olds and had written a blurb on the back of Troy's book. Sharon wrote this for Troy and used the word Underlife. So I've had both of these women as teachers. They've both been heroes of mine, and it was just nice to bring that extra element into the title. So after that long explanation, I'm going to read the poem with the title that didn't make it to the title of the book, which is The Kerning. And for this poem, it really does refer to, for me, the spacing between family members. Sometimes we're on the same page, sometimes we're not. The Kerning. Today I spent the morning brushing pink crayon from your teeth. This tells me you know how to eat words. You've tasted those intangible calories that fill my cavernous heart. You're beginning to understand how sloppy and brutal the imagination can be. I put my hands between your pearly teeth and yank petals of paper from your mouth. Someday I will teach you how to read words that are not there. Show you how to breathe without disturbing the air. Nothing lives outside of us in this overprinted world. Decide for yourself, then let me know if you can eat a crayon without leaving a mark. And I guess I should mention that was for my then 3-year-old daughter, now 4.5, and she's out of that crayon eating phase, thank goodness. So I'm going to read 2 poems that are not in the book. I think this poem sort of describes my fear in life. I have 2 kids, one's 6 and the other's 4.5. What my kids will write about me in their future tell-all book. They will say that no was my favorite word, more than stop or eat or love. That some mornings I'd rather stay in bed, laptop on lap, instead of making breakfast. That I'd rather write than speak. They will say they have seen me naked, front side, back side, none of which were my good side. They will say I breastfed too long. In the tell-all book my kids will write, they'll tell how I let them wrinkle like raisins in the bathtub so I could watch Big Poppy at the plate. They'll talk about how I threw out their artwork, the watercolors and the turkey hands, when I thought they weren't looking and when I knew they were. They will say my voice was a slow torture, that my singing caused them permanent hearing loss. In the tell-all book my kids will write, as surely as I am writing this, they will say I cut them off mid-sentence just because I could. They'll tell you how I got down on my knees, growling my low, guttural disapproval, how I grabbed their ears, pinched the backs of their arms, yet they never quite knew who was sadder for it. They'll quote me in saying, I cry in the shower. It's the only safe place I can go. They will say she was our sweetest disaster. They will say I loved them so much it hurt. And I'm going to close with a poem that I'm actually heading back up to Massachusetts later today because there is a poetry award that I'm up for. I'm a finalist in a contest for a poem in a contest sponsored by the city of Brockton, and it's actually held by the Brockton Public Library. So 2 library events in one day. I feel very lucky for that. So this is the poem, A Mother's Tale. I tell my son that the best poems are written in the sand and washed away with the tide. I say the moon controls the waves, uses the wind to rake the shore. It is an open invitation to fill the world with words, because like seashells, you can never have too many. I tell him to wade into the water, start a conversation with the tiniest grain on the beach, the one that catches his eye with its glint. It will tell him everything he needs to know about this moment, about how to stay in it a little longer. It will tell him how to be, for an instant, the thing he most wants to become.